Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On Podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash. Welcome to our podcast today. I got two of the superstars at Dealer eProcess. I have Sam Vukas, he's the Chief Operating Officer, and Gino Ciparoni, the Chief Revenue Officer. I had to say that in the Italian way. Sam, Gino, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
So, Gino,
Ciparoni would be the
Ciparoni.
There you go.
Ciparoni. Thank you. Hey, on your background, I see a Sherpa with kind of a modern touch. I've been reading a lot of your content that Joe's talking about. Before we get into how Dealer eProcess is using AI, and Sam has some clear opinions on the Fugazi AI that's being touted around the industry. Gino, what is Sherpa and how should dealers interpret that phrase in helping them sell more cars and service in a digital age?
Yeah, so to give a little bit more context, mid last year, around June of last year, we relaunched our platform under the name Everest. Everest is now the term that we use to define all of the technologies that we bring to market: websites, digital retailing, digital advertising, Amazon advertising, all lives under the Everest umbrella. And when we were developing our AI, and the first round of development was really centered around the idea of a personalized website experience that can proactively guide a user through the car buying journey, who guides you up the mountain of Everest, who guides you through the car buying journey would be Sherpa. So it was a natural fit to name our AI application Sherpa, because it really does help to, like I said, proactively guide a user through the shopping experience without any extra lift on their part or any extra lift on the dealer's part. Sherpa just identifies, their data, their background, and gets them moving through the process more proactively.
So, Gino, and we're going to dive more into specifics on Sherpa, but let me switch to Sam. Sam, you and I have talked about every product adding AI to their name. And the truth is, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And you said, Brian, we want dealers not to be afraid. We want them to see practical applications of AI. So when you think of NADA coming up and people coming to your booth, how are you going to describe the approach that you take to AI that's believable and not smoke and mirrors?
So, last couple of years prior to AI really kind of blossoming was a big focus on big data and how to use the big data. And while there are some dealer groups that can execute on that fairly quickly, most dealerships or smaller dealer groups, their focus is working the CRM, working the leads, getting them in. There's a treasure trove of data that exists in there. And our approach with AI is not to try to create or use large language models to talk to the consumers on the front end of the website. We don't want to have the fear that something is misrepresented. We still know that AI hallucinations are very much a problem. This can happen in a live chat scenario. That can happen in creating content pages. The approach that we use with AI is leveraging it to do data analysis, where it's very binary, it's ones and zeros. So when we're feeding it all this information from click path data to inventory, specs, and all of the different things that power the website, it's going to now live within the DEP dashboard, and it's going to also live within the hyperlinks that we send to the CRM, where in real time, a consumer that has shopped on the website for a week straight, instead of having somebody in the BDC or at the dealership look through that one by one, that AI assistant's going to be right there to summarize all of that data. So even if you're not leveraging big technologies like a CDP, you don't have a company that's doing a data warehouse for you, we can still take all of that information on the website. We can bring it all the way down to a consumable size, and you can look through that information and be actionable with it.
Gino, I saw that the CEO, Joe Gillespie, co-founder of Dealer eProcess, recently published an article, and let's bring up the graphic. I want you to help dealers talk through it. This looks like a lot of gobbledygook, but this is every click, hover, swipe action that a consumer took and repeated visits back to the website. And then, and we'll bring up this graphic, how Sherpa summarized that. We've heard about, as Sam said, big data, big data, big data, but consuming big data and making it practical has been elusive. This summary by Sherpa makes a lot of sense. How is that summary brought into the lead for the dealer when that lead gets forwarded into the CRM?
Yeah, it's a real simple process. So what we're looking at is, just like you said, a system of ours that tracks every single action a customer ever takes on the website, right? So what pages did they go to? What vehicles did they view? What buttons did they click? Everything like that. And we send that data into the CRM and have for a number of years so that as a salesperson or a BDC rep, I can pick up the phone and have that in front of me while I talk to the consumer. But a lot of times these click paths, as we call them, get very long, very convoluted. It's hard to kind of discern what is this person really trying to do here on the site. So Sherpa is being fed that data and using the power of large language models and the type of learning that is behind the scenes. It actually will take that data and instantly summarize it for you so that once you click on the summarize for me button, it'll just say, well, Brian has been looking at 3 different vehicles, a Hyundai Santa Fe, a Hyundai Tucson. He's kind of between the two. He's looked at these 3 different models and these price ranges. I think when you call him, you should probably talk about this vehicle first. It really is kind of like a coach over the BDC rep's shoulder telling the customer or that BDC rep how to speak to this person, what this person might be interested in, and like the theme with Sherpa, guiding them through that customer interaction. So it's a pretty powerful tool, and it's all accessible through just a hyperlink within the CRM. The BDC rep doesn't have to log into our dashboard or anything else like that to see it.
I love that application of AI because, listen, I'm not an AI expert, but the people I listen to say, look, AI thrives on large data sets. Give it more data, it can crunch it very quickly. And I think of what companies like Call Review are doing, right? They're recording a call with a customer and then they're scoring it, coaching it, right? Instead of like a BDC coach coming in or a manager. And I'm like, man, that's really creative use of AI. And the same thing is like when you look at like a website heat map or, your click path, right? It really looks like a very bad maze of data. And I love how Sherpa summarizes that. You mentioned that Sherpa can also do something, and you teased it, or Joe teased about it in his article about looking at campaigns and all of that, bid, click, conversion, website visit, no website visit. How is Sherpa analyzing digital marketing campaigns and helping your team and the dealer decide what's working?
Sam, you want to take this one, or you want me to take this one?
No, I've got it. This is my favorite little pet project we've been working on.
I had a feeling you'd want to.
So while Sherpa will continue to evolve and get more into the weeds with digital marketing, the way that we started with it is we have the inventory insights report. And we want to boil down the reporting on the website like no other website vendor has in the past. I mean, we're past, Brian, page views and sessions and VDPs. Let's actually talk about digitally what shoppers are doing as it relates to the vehicles that you sell as a franchise dealer. So what we have funneled into this is an amalgamation of all of the information that we've had for years. The click path data, now we have ASC events, we've had the SEM information as far as what campaigns are active, how much you've historically spent on it. But we're also bringing in things like how many cars you have on ground, what's in transit, what's on order, and using Sherpa to assess essentially the health of the model of the vehicle. So if you're looking at Hyundai Palisades, and we can take every ASC event that led to a lead that ultimately led to a sale, we can extrapolate out from that ideas in which ways to set up either the website or digital marketing as they pair together to say, hey, look, you're spending X amount of dollars on Hyundai Palisades. This is what happens when paid search clients get here. You need to make sure that you're always showing a brochure. This campaign is working well for you. This campaign is not working well for you. Shift budget here where it makes sense. Or maybe you're doing great organically, right? Maybe you don't necessarily need to, and the system identifies that more times than not, the organic shopper is who's converting. Maybe paid's not really doing a great job. Maybe we need to rethink the strategy on that model. Maybe Palisades are selling themselves because they're sparse, they're hard to get, there's not many on the lot. So if you have 3, you're selling the 3. We can look at that quickly with Sherpa, and it's going to make these suggestions.
That I love that, because the truth is there's a lot of moving pieces. Oftentimes Google Analytics or ClickPath data don't reference whether somebody stopped streaming advertising, whether they stopped radio, or they dumped a big direct mail piece. But, it's a good transition to talk about the video advertising and how effective that's been. Dealer eProcess is a leader, if not the number one, Amazon advertising partner for dealers at tier 3. And you're not only able to do Google and Bing and organic traffic generation, but streaming video with, I guess what I would assume is the largest, most accurate first-party data graph on Amazon. How is your team, and I'll have Gino jump in on this in a minute, but how excited you are to be able to then also deploy into households or using the Amazon Identity Graph your digital IDs to push ads to people on the Amazon advertising network. It seems like from every other study that I saw that you published, it's almost like a 5x over any advertising channel on the cost to move a vehicle.
Yeah, so there's a lot to cover in there because so much of Amazon is new to dealers. So to give just a little bit of overview of what Amazon does and how we use it. So from an advertising standpoint in the world of digital marketing, Amazon is now the number 2 largest single marketing platform in the world behind Google. Facebook is right behind it, and then right behind them is Instagram. And the reason that Amazon has grown so quickly is the reason you mentioned, Brian, is that they are the number 1 source of accurate user-generated first-party data that has ever existed in the world of advertising. And it makes sense when you think about it. None of us are shy about giving Amazon our data because Amazon's built on convenience, and convenience is driven from having accurate data to give the customers what they want. So that's kind of the foundation of this. From there, you can activate, like you said, on streaming channels, which can range anywhere from Amazon Prime to Hulu to Sling. And then also it includes online video and display too, to kind of give us a good mixture of how we're reaching people. And so it's really powerful in terms of creating these audiences. And it has, like you said, been an extreme boost to the dealers of ours that have onboarded with Amazon and use it as a complement to what they're doing on, say, Google or Microsoft or Facebook, because Amazon, we're able to pinpoint so specifically those people who are shopping for a vehicle, especially now when you look at brands like Hyundai who are selling directly on Amazon. I mean, that's a direct access to somebody who's actively shopping for a Hyundai that we can just pluck out of the universe and advertise on behalf of our dealers. It takes them in that kind of point of the buying journey all the way down to the Google campaign or the Bing campaign or whatever. And so they really complement each other. But then you said something else that's really interesting. You said our digital ID coming into play. And the digital ID is that piece of technology we talked about earlier that's capturing all this user usage data on the website. What are they doing? How are they acting? And it brings me to a thought, kind of like in the broader sense, when we think about what a website is today, or at least what we've built, I think calling it a website is kind of an insult these days, because
Right.
it really is a hub of activity that both takes in and sends out data based on all of your user interactions. So it's way more than a website. It's much more of that hub, like I said, that can power all different sorts of marketing and messaging and insights, like Sam was talking about. And when Sam was talking, and the way what we've been doing with Sherpa and how it analyzes that customer's campaign data and understands model by model how to move vehicles, it takes us so far from where we've been historically, which is if I want to move a certain vehicle, I'm just going to spend more money on it. It's like, no. How does this vehicle actually move? Is spending money on it how it actually sells, or is there another channel that tends to be more beneficial for just this model? Could be Amazon, could be organic, could be something entirely different. But having that centralized hub of data from the website powered by AI insights to understand it all is just making us far more well equipped to be the ones to tell the dealer, no, this is exactly where you need to spend your money. This is exactly where you need to focus your efforts on this model versus this model, which is an entirely different strategy. So it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and dealers know I've been writing a lot about CDPs, and not every dealer, I would say less than 20% of dealers are investing in a CDP today. I believe it's going to grow. I bet we'll get to about 25% of dealers in the US will have a CDP. But your digital ID is taking care of identity resolution, recognizing when people are back on the website. And that's why I've commented, I think the Everest platform is the platform that's most ready for dealers who want to do advanced first party data activation with a CDP or without a CDP, because you've already built the heavy lifting piece of identity resolution and activation. Sam, one of the other things that have been going around is website speed, all the support requests that are coming in to add this tool, add this pop up, add this iframe. And of course, it impacts development and features. But DEP has really almost a complete tool set across all those major trade platform, credit platform, digital retailing platform. So in your vision, do you see in the future, as dealers start to really focus on the customer experience, having more of your embedded tools in the website so that it loads faster, the data is connected, is going to make more sense? Do you think dealers are going to stop chasing little objects and start to say, my data and the data capture and the data warehouse is more experienced than chasing one feature?
I hope so. I mean, that's definitely what we've built for. I definitely can say that our preference would be to have everything platformed all together as one, because you get the insights of somebody bouncing between the different solutions. If they're a DR client, if they're only focused on credit, if they're looking at trade, payments, whatever it is, you get a much more complete customer picture. Now, the reality is we still will have to continue to support third parties. Program requirements, dealers that want to try something new, we totally get it. Our team has always dedicated plenty of time and resources to make sure that we can hit benchmarks for speed for homepages, SRPs, and VDPs. I can tell you we've got some cool stuff coming a little bit later in Q1 that is going to continue to move that needle. There are definitely trade-offs. We have seen some things come out with the speed layers and items that have helped site speeds. They do defer loading of certain objects, and that can cause potential issues. We are definitely, like I said, focused on making sure, though, if you are leveraging the platform, it is significantly less things for us to have to load. So if you're a client that uses us for websites, trade, credit, DR, and chat, I'm just loading the Everest platform. I'm not loading the website and then calling this third party and calling that third party and waiting for that to load and this GTM come in. So that is really why we have built out the Everest platform to be the all-encompassing, stop for everybody to pick what they need.
Love that. Love that. And I think just looking at the fact that all of your tools support the ASC spec, all of those events can be fed easily into a CDP without any manual tagging. I think more and more dealers are going to realize it's such a pain to chase vendors to support a spec, to chase vendors to import digital IDs into their iframe. It is painful. I'm doing it today for many vendors I'm coaching with, but I think in my mindset in the future for sustainability, people are going to start to look at the Everest platform and say, wow, these guys have really figured this out in advance. Gino, NADA is coming up. It is a mosh pit of vendors, dealers, international guests. I'll be speaking to the Italian crew that's coming out. There's over 100 people from Italy coming out to NADA. There's another 100 people coming in from the Netherlands. I can't wait to meet all our colleagues from the EU and, from around the world. Where's the DEP booth located? What's that booth number? And if somebody wanted to have a deep dive on Everest or really see the power of Amazon advertising, or Sam, as you were mentioning, these insights into advertising and your practical approach to AI, saying, I got to deliver value. I'm not, promising vapor. Gino, where would people go for that demo?
So they're going to go to obviously the dealer eProcess booth, which is when you walk into the main entrance of the exhibit hall, just take a little bit slant to the left and you'll see us. We're booth number 2700. I believe we're right by the always big Cox Automotive mausoleum that they build there. We're tucked right in there with them, so it's an easy booth to find. And we are our CMO Eliana Raggio would kill me if I didn't mention, but we are giving away a Louis Vuitton backpack valued at something like $12 million or whatever it costs to buy a Louis Vuitton
those
bag these
backpacks
days.
are hard to find.
Not 12 million.
Yeah, and then we are also giving away free Sherpa trials for 90 days, which is an $1,800 value, I believe, around there. And then we are also, for one lucky winner, speaking of Amazon advertising, we are giving away a free $10,000 Amazon advertising campaign. So you'll win if you come to the booth in any case because of the technology that we're bringing to the table, but you can win a little bit extra too, potentially.
Love it. And also just know Eliana has a lot of industry leaders lined up to do interviews at the booth, and those will be streaming and available online during and after the show. I'll be there for a session, and I'm going to be bringing some copies of my new book, Automotive CDPs, a planning guide for dealers, just to help dealers understand the potential of first-party data management. And the key thing is dealer eProcess is ahead of the curve, ready to meet dealers wherever they are. Whether they're not ready for CDPs, their identity layer and activation is amazing. If they have a CDP, a complete, robust feed of data and events and audiences into the CDP. Either way, it's exciting to see what you've done with Everest and leading the crowd. I'll be coming by the booth. I hope everyone who's going to NADA will stop by. But Gino, if people are not going to NADA, what's the best way for them to get a demo?
Yeah, so actually, we're doing a keynote, pre-NADA keynote for those of dealers out there that cannot make it to the show. Sam and our national sales director, Joel Matson, will be hosting that. That is next Thursday, the 16th at 11:30 Central. You can go to dealereprocess.com to register for that. Or if you want just a one-on-one demo and really get in depth into everything that we've got going on here at Dealer eProcess, you can go to dealereprocess.com, fill out a form, or just call us directly at 877-551-2555. I feel like I'm on a telethon or something like that.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
You did say it just like that too.
Yep.
And don't forget.
Yeah.
So
and act now.
Yes. So Gino, Sam, thanks so much for taking time. I wanted to record this interview before NADA just because I've been really excited to see what Joe's been writing about, what you've been showing me. And I want to make sure that dealers understand that this is a company that should be on their visitation list to see what's new and, more importantly, real practical applications of AI. If this is the first time you're listening to one of my podcasts, you should know there are dozens of interviews with industry leaders and people who are trying to improve the automotive retail experience, both for customers and for dealers. So make sure you just search the Brian Pash podcast and listen in on all the great interviews. And also, I'll be at NADA at the PCG Digital booth. If you'd like to set up an appointment, just shoot me an email, brian@brianpash.com. Until then, I'll see everyone either at NADA or on another podcast interview. Have a great day. And more importantly, look into the power of data management with tools like Sherpa AI. You won't be disappointed.